Hi everyone, it's Margaret Manning here with Retire Different. Retire Different is a place for people who want to ask great questions in order to make the best financial decisions for a fabulous retirement. And we talk about all kinds of topics related to how to do this in practical ways. And I wanted to talk to you today about an article we wrote on generosity and how it can be a double-edged sword when we're talking about saving for retirement. Now, millennials, people a little younger than the boomer generation, might have lots of ways of thinking about us. They might say that we're the selfish generation. We messed things up with the environment. We didn't, sort of keep jobs stable for the younger generation. We took them all ourselves. There's lots of ways that we are perceived. And one of the things that probably is not considered is that we are a very generous demographic. Now, this, for me, is, personally an issue because I really feel like we do care. I feel that we do our best. And, talking to so many women and men in this retirement sort of area, time of their lives, they really do want to do something good for the world. We want to give back and make, some amends. We know we've messed up in some ways, for sure, but we always are doing the best that we can. So when we face retirement, we want to get into the community and do volunteer work. We want to help with the causes that are important to us, and we want to help the people who we love. Now, many women in particular and fathers, mothers and fathers, want to take care of their kids even as adults. It's not an easy world out there right now for millennials. The workplace is very different. The security of jobs and the way that the work environment plays out is very, very challenging. So I understand that. But boomers are way more generous than you think, and maybe almost to a fault. Now, we've written this article, which you can read. It's got all the facts and information that I'm going to talk about here. But one thing to remember is that millennials are still struggling and living with their parents. I think it's 23% of millennials today are living with one of their parents. That's a big number. Now, in our generation, for older people in their 60s and 70s, we never would have gone home to, to parents to live. It's just not something that was in our mindset. So we just kept on going and we did different things. The work environment was different, admittedly. But millennials today are living with their parents. And this is something that we accept and embrace. We actually understand what they're going through and we want to help. The Guardian life insurance company actually said that boomers are also one of the fastest demographics in terms of student debt. We are helping our children go to school. We do believe that education will get them a better job. That's the way that it worked for us. And so we're getting helping them to finance their student loans. And also we're doing we're helping our grandchildren as well. Now, there's other facts to mention. There's some in the article that you might find interesting. And that is that 2.7 million grandparents are raising their grandchildren in the United States alone. And 41% of all charitable donations are made by boomers. So we are trying our best to give back. And the question now, though, is whether at some point generosity becomes a disability or liability and self-destructive. I had a conversation with a friend, and I talk about this in the article because Susan is so, and by her, that's not her real name, Susan is so so typical of the types of women and situations that many boomers face. She and I were chatting, and she was saying that, she's in her early 70s. I mean, I'm 70. She's in her early 70s and was worked, for the last half of her life. She was a mom, stay-at-home mom. She didn't work when she was younger, but she went back after her children were, out of the house, and she got a lower-level administrative job. Never really made it up through the management levels, so didn't have a lot of money saved. But now she's finding herself with two children that needed her help. Her daughter has 2 children. And she's been struggling with a part-time job as a barista and then doing writing part-time in the evenings, but she's just not making enough to support her family. So Susan is actually there helping her and paying a monthly amount. She just got a call from Susan, or from her daughter, to say, Mom, my car needs fixing. It needs $800 or something to fix. And Susan doesn't have this. And she's reached that point where she's like, her generosity has just reached that point. She just can't pay it. She's only got a Social Security, pension, income. And I said, well, then maybe your daughter's just going to have to get the bus. And she said, oh my gosh, how could she do that? She's got 2 children. And it's like, we want to help, but at what price? Where's the boundary? Where does it end? And so then she said her son also is having challenges finding work. So she actually helped him go back to school. He only stayed for a year. He dropped out, and she's now paying the monthly fees to pay off the debt, $5,000. So, it's really a challenge. And now, of course, her son is, one of her priorities, as it is with moms. I mean, we just do care. And dads, I shouldn't say that as well. So I think the bottom line here with generosity is that it's okay to help in the short term. If you've got it and it's not impacting your own comfort, your own ability to buy food and live your life, in a comfortable way, then it's okay. Obviously, help when you can. Put on your own oxygen mask first, and that the instructions, always take care of yourself. And then if you've got a little extra, then you can help. But honestly, doing this for the long term is very, very dangerous, because if you get into a commitment of paying 10, 15, 20% of your own income to help other people, you are not having the opportunity to save for your retirement. And well, not just your retirement, but the older years in your life, 70s and 80s and so on. We're healthier, we're stronger, we're living longer. And we've got to start realizing that we need to save for our retirement. Things can happen. We could have a medical bill. We could have to go into assisted living. Things happen. And unless you start thinking about it in your 50s and 60s before you're starting to retire, and as you are giving so much of yourself as a generous person to your family and friends and others, then those emergencies are going to be more than just emergencies. They're going to be very serious. So not to be dramatic about it, because I'm absolutely in this position. I could share with you my stories as well. But we do these things because we're human and because we love our children and we love our families and we want to help. This is just what we do. But this is the time of your life when you're entering into retirement. We talk at Retire Different about retiring different. It's not the same as it was. Life has got a lot more complicated for you and for the people that you care about. But you've got to retire in a different way. And one of the key priorities, that we would like to have you think about is to save money in retirement by just watching that generosity quotient, keeping it within the bounds that you can manage. So I hope that this has been an interesting conversation, and let's just hope that they'll be able to support you. This is another thing to think about. Yes, make the investments, but at some point, think of yourself. So, do you feel like parents are sometimes too generous with their friends and children, in particular, children and grandchildren? Have you been in a situation yourself where you've helped a family member, and maybe you'd like to share your experience and what you went through and how it turned out and what you learned? That would be super interesting. So I do hope that you're well. Have a really good day, and think about these things. Read the article in full. There's a little bit more information there with some links that you can learn about. And I really hope that you have got a better handle on this topic of generosity. I'd love your feedback and comments. Please leave them in the section below. Subscribe to our channel here on YouTube, and also check out our website at retiredifferent.com. And look forward to the conversation with you. Thanks for being here, and take very good care of yourself. Bye-bye for now.